The Confidence Conundrum, Bridging the Gap Between Self-Image and Self-Belief. Welcome to the BlackCEO podcast, where we dive deep into the issues that shape our world and challenge our perceptions. Today, we're exploring a topic that's not just thought-provoking, but potentially life-changing. We're going to unravel the mystery of why so many accomplished women, despite looking fantastic on paper, struggle to show up as their best selves in real life. It's a paradox that's been puzzling psychologists, sociologists, and, well, pretty much everyone who's ever looked at a successful woman and thought, why isn't she running the world yet? But before we dive in, I want to acknowledge the incredible woman who opened my eyes to this phenomenon. Shekina Farr, a visionary in the field of women's empowerment, recently sat down with me for a conversation that left me both enlightened and inspired. Shekina's work in addressing the complex dynamics of self-image and self-confidence is nothing short of revolutionary. She's not just talking about change. She's actively reshaping the landscape of women's empowerment, one mind-blowing insight at a time. Now picture this, a woman with a resume that reads like a superhero's origin story. Multiple degrees, check. Professional achievements that would make LinkedIn blush, double check. Yet when it comes to speaking up in meetings or gunning for that well-deserved promotion, she hesitates. It's like watching Superwoman decide she'd rather not fly today because, well, what if her cape isn't on straight? This, my friends, is the crux of what I learned from Shekina Farr. It's a message that needs to be heard, shouted from rooftops, and maybe even skywritten for good measure. We're about to embark on a journey exploring the fascinating and often perplexing gap between women's self-image and their self-confidence. It's a gap that's not just holding back individual women, but our entire society from reaching its full, glorious potential. Now, you might be thinking, hold up, aren't self-image and self-confidence basically the same thing? Isn't that like saying there's a difference between a tomato and a tomato? And yes, I just used the same word twice, but you read them differently, didn't you? Well, buckle up because we're about to blow that assumption right out of the water. Let's break it down. Self-image is how we see ourselves. It's the mental selfie we carry around, complete with filters and our best angles. For many women, this self-image is quite positive. We know we're capable. We know we're valuable. We can list our accomplishments and feel a sense of pride that would make a peacock look modest. But here's where it gets tricky. Self-confidence is about how much we believe in that image, how much we trust in our ability to navigate the world and face challenges. It's like having a map. That's your self-image, but doubting your ability to read it or follow the road. And this, dear listeners, is where the disconnect happens. It's like having a high-performance sports car in your garage, but being too afraid to take it out on the road. The potential is there, gleaming and purring with possibility, but something's holding us back from fully embracing it and taking it for a spin. Now, why does this matter? Why should we care about this gap between self-image and self-confidence? Because it's not just a personal issue, it's a societal one. When women don't fully step into their power, when they hold back their ideas, their leadership, their innovations, we all lose out. It's like trying to run a marathon with one leg tied behind our back. We're limiting our collective potential. And let's face it, the world has enough problems without us adding self-doubt to the mix. But here's the good news. Awareness is the first step to change, and that's what we're here to do today. We're going to dive deep into this issue, explore its roots, and most importantly, talk about how we can bridge this gap. Think of it as building a confident superhighway between who we know we are and who we allow ourselves to be. Let's start with a story that Shekina shared with me. It's about the impact of societal standards on women's self-esteem, particularly focusing on beauty standards and the pressure to conform. Imagine a world where every billboard, every magazine cover, every social media post showcases a narrow, often unattainable ideal of beauty. Oh, wait, we don't have to imagine it. We're living in it. This constant bombardment of unrealistic standards takes a toll. It's like being in a fun house of mirrors where every reflection is distorted. But instead of laughing, we're left feeling inadequate. Women find themselves constantly comparing their appearance to these ideals, leading to a deep dissatisfaction with how they look. It's as if we're all participating in a beauty pageant we never signed up for, and the judges are particularly harsh. But here's where it gets interesting. Studies have shown that when women are exposed to diverse and realistic representations of beauty, their self-esteem and body image improve. It's like finally stepping out of that fun house and seeing yourself in a normal mirror, suddenly you realize you look pretty darn good. This is why campaigns promoting body positivity and diversity are so crucial. They're not just feel-good initiatives. They're actively changing perceptions and boosting self-esteem. It's about redefining what beauty means, expanding it to include all shapes, sizes, colors, and ages. It's like we're collectively writing a new dictionary. And in this version, beautiful has a much broader definition. But let's be real, changing societal standards is a big task. It's like trying to redirect a river. It takes time, effort, and persistence. So while we work on that, what can we do on a personal level? This brings me to another fascinating insight from my conversation with Shekina, the role of social media in self-esteem. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, great, another lecture about the evils of social media? But stick with me because this is important, and I promise not to suggest you throw your phone into the nearest body of water. Social media is like a double-edged sword. On one hand, it connects us, informs us, entertains us. On the other hand, it's a breeding ground for comparison and self-criticism. Every scroll through your feed can feel like a highlight reel of everyone else's perfect lives, perfect bodies, perfect careers. And let's face it, we rarely post about our bad hair days or failed projects. It's like we're all starring in our own reality shows, but we only show the parts where we look good and have our lives together. This constant comparison can be toxic. It's like being in a never-ending beauty pageant or job interview, always feeling like you're coming up short. And the worst part, we do this to ourselves voluntarily, often multiple times a day. It's like we're addicted to feeling bad about ourselves. But here's the twist. Social media doesn't have to be the bad guy. Research has shown that controlled social media use and exposure to positive content can actually improve self-esteem and reduce self-criticism. It's all about how we use it. It's like food, a balanced diet is great, but if all you eat is junk food, you're going to feel pretty lousy. So what does this mean for us? It means we have the power to curate our online experience. We can choose to follow accounts that inspire us, that show diverse representations of success and beauty. We can limit our scrolling time and be more mindful of how social media makes us feel. It's like being the DJ of your own mental soundtrack. You get to choose the tunes that play in your head. Now, let's talk about something really exciting. Building confidence through empowerment. This is where the rubber meets the road, where we start to bridge that gap between self-image and self-confidence. This is the part where we put on our superhero capes and start to fly. Shekina shared with me the power of empowerment programs that focus on self-acceptance, skill building, and support networks. These programs are like greenhouses for confidence. They provide the perfect environment for it to grow and flourish. Imagine a place where you're surrounded by people who believe in you, where you're learning new skills and pushing your boundaries. It's like a confidence boot camp. But instead of a drill sergeant yelling at you, you've got a whole cheerleading squad. Think about it. When you're in a supportive environment, surrounded by people who believe in you, learning new skills and pushing your boundaries, something magical happens. You start to believe in yourself more. You start to take risks. You start to see yourself not just as you are, but as you could be. It's like putting on a pair of glasses when you've been squinting your whole life. Suddenly, everything comes into focus, and you realize how much you've been missing. Studies have shown that these types of programs can significantly improve self-confidence and self-esteem among women. It's not just about feeling good, it's about doing good. When women step into their power, they don't just change their own lives, they change the world around them. But here's the kicker. These programs don't just benefit the individual women who participate in them. They have broader implications for gender equality and women's empowerment as a whole. When one woman steps into her power, she inspires others to do the same. It's a ripple effect that can transform communities, workplaces, and even societies. It's like dropping a pebble in a pond. The ripples keep spreading outward, touching everything in their path. So, what does all of this mean for you? What can you do with this information? Well, that's where the real fun begins. It's time to take all this knowledge and turn it into action. It's like we've been given the blueprint for a confidence-building machine. Now it's time to start construction. First, let's talk about awareness. Now that you know about this gap between self-image and self-confidence, start noticing it in your own life. When do you hold back? When do you doubt yourself? Recognizing these moments is the first step to changing them. It's like being your own personal detective, investigating the mystery of your self-doubt. Next, challenge those societal standards that don't serve you. Remember, you get to define what beauty and success look like for you. Don't let anyone else's yardstick measure your worth. It's time to throw out the old rule book and write your own. When it comes to social media, be intentional. Curate your feed to inspire and uplift you. Unfollow accounts that make you feel less than. And remember, what you see is often a highlight reel, not reality. It's like creating your own personal museum of inspiration. You get to choose what goes on display. Seek out empowerment opportunities. This could be a formal program, or it could be as simple as surrounding yourself with supportive friends who believe in you. Find your cheerleaders, your mentors, your tribe. It's like assembling your own personal Avengers team, each member bringing their own superpower to help you succeed. And perhaps most importantly, practice self-compassion. Treat yourself with the same kindness and understanding you would offer a good friend. Remember, confidence isn't about being perfect. It's about believing in your ability to handle whatever comes your way. It's about being your own best friend, your own biggest fan. Now, I want to speak directly to the men listening. You play a crucial role in this too. Support the women in your life. Encourage them to take risks, to speak up, to go after their dreams. Your belief in them can be a powerful catalyst for their confidence. It's like being a spotter at the gym. You're there to support, encourage, and ensure safety while they do the heavy lifting. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a challenge. Think about one action you can take this week to bridge the gap between your self-image and your self-confidence. Maybe it's speaking up in a meeting, applying for that job you think you're not quite qualified for, or simply looking in the mirror and saying something kind to yourself. Whatever it is, commit to it. Write it down, share it with a friend, make it real. Remember, this isn't just about you. When you step into your power, you give others permission to do the same. You become a beacon of possibility, showing others what's achievable. It's like lighting a candle. Your light doesn't diminish when you use it to light another. Instead, the room gets brighter. In the words of Marianne Williamson, as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. So shine bright, my friends. The world needs your light. It needs your ideas, your leadership, your unique perspective. Don't keep it waiting. This is more than just a call to action. It's a revolution of self-belief, of women stepping into their power, of society recognizing and celebrating the full potential of every individual. And revolutions don't happen by themselves. They need people like you, people who are willing to challenge the status quo, to push boundaries, to believe in themselves, even when it's hard. So I challenge you, no, I dare you to take what you've learned today and use it. Use it to boost your own confidence. Use it to support the women around you. Use it to change the conversation about women's self-image and self-confidence in your community. Be the change you want to see in the world. Because here's the truth, the world is waiting for you. It's waiting for your ideas, your leadership, your unique perspective. It's waiting for you to show up in all your glory, to bring your full, authentic self to the table. And trust me, when you do, it's going to be spectacular. So go forth, bridge that gap, and show the world what you're made of. Because when women believe in themselves, when they step into their power, there's no limit to what we can achieve. The future is bright, my friends, and it's time for us to shine. Thank you for joining me on this journey of discovery and empowerment. Until next time, keep believing in yourself, keep pushing boundaries, and keep bridging that gap between who you are and who you know you can be. The world is waiting, and it's time for us to answer the call. Let's make some noise, let's make some waves, and let's make a difference. The revolution of self-confidence starts now, and it starts with you.